Definitely. And so coming from your engineering background, I mean, obviously engineers, right, they're very analytical in the way they kind of, attack a problem. So have you always been that kind of analytical mind and very detail oriented, or was that something that was kind of a learned experience?
I think it was always that way. When I graduated from grade school and I went to a technical high school, Brooklyn Technical in New York City, I knew then that I wanted to get into the technical side of business to some degree. Originally, I wanted to be an electrical engineer and wound up being an industrial engineer when I got exposed to it. And that always fascinated me, the technical part of the business. But what equally fascinated me was the people part, because no matter what you're dealing with things, you always have people involved. They impact the things you're doing. The things that you're doing impact the people. So there has to be a real good balance there. You've got to keep them truly in balance, or things do definitely get out of whack.
Definitely. And so kind of tell me a little bit more about that in regards to that. So not only are you like, it sounds like two pillars, right? One is
Right.
operations and systems, but also the people. But how do you structure that so that obviously it facilitates really good operations and systems?
Well, I think it's a lot of pillars actually. You've got the processes themselves, you've got the people that are doing it, you have the facilities, which could be the physical plant or the equipment and the tooling and so forth. So you've got all those things that they're basically holding up the business. And of course, you've got to work with the other functions, the finance function and the sales and the marketing, because you've got to keep the consumer perspective certainly in line with what you're doing. You don't just do what you want to do because you want to do it. You're ultimately satisfying the people who are going to buy your products or your services, and you've got to be aware of what they want and how their needs and wants change over time. And certainly in the consulting world, again, you've got this variety of wants and needs of companies who are trying to forge their way and to stay relevant. And you've got to stay up with them and the latest techniques that are occurring and how they're going to fit in and utilize those things. So it's a real balancing act. I think the key thing, though, is ultimately it turns out to be the people in the end. The people who are doing what you want them to do, what they need to do in order to make things grow and thrive. Because without them, it doesn't matter. You can have the best systems in the world, you can have the best equipment in the world, but if you don't have the people trained and bought in and doing the right things, you can have a real disaster on your hands.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And what I've noticed just with like every process, every system, right? The whole goal is to build a system where, okay, hey, you can take someone off the street